Hello and a very warm welcome. I am your host Ahmed Said and you are watching Voicepkdotnet. Today we are going to discuss SCO summit that was happened today in Islamabad, and it was attended by 7 heads of state, and it was also attended by Indian Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Today we are going to discuss the impact of this conference on Pakistan-India relation and Pakistan's relationship with other SCO members, and we are joined by Munizae Jahangir, who's a senior journalist and who's also the editor of Voicepkdotnet. Thank you so much, Munizae Jahangir. So basically, what I want to know from you is what will be the impact of this SCO summit on Pakistan's foreign relations?
Well, that's a very broad question, but I think one of the biggest, win for Pakistan is that the SCO was concluded that there was no terror incident, thank God. And if you look at Islamabad right now, it is completely shut down. Even the Indian journalists that came here, who usually want to go out and meet other friends and shop and eat, they were unable to do this because Islamabad is in complete lockdown. They said that they didn't see a single Pakistani walking on the street. People over here were confined to their homes. So that was a manifestation threat that Pakistan faces within, and that the how Pakistan was so nervous about a terror attack around this
Hmm.
SCO. You all know that the PTI had also made a call for a protest at the SCO summit, but thankfully they said that they backed off from that call. However, if you look at how Pakistan has come around and has hosted this SCO summit, it is extremely significant. It's after a very, very long time, over a decade, such high profile leaders together have come to Pakistan. The Chinese premier has come after many years also. So it is, and do not forget that there have been attacks on the Chinese just before the Chinese premier
Yes.
arrived here. There's been an attack in Karachi. There's been an attack in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa on Chinese engineers and the Chinese working here on CPEC. So by the Chinese premier coming here, it's giving that trust again to Pakistan and trusting them that they would be safe here. So I think that was very significant. Emma, that's extremely interesting for us,
Okay.
simply because we've seen.
I think you have briefed us very well. But now I want to come to the point that was the highlight of this event. That was the visit of Jay Shankar to Pakistan. How did you see that and how do you think that it is going to how it will help Pakistan to normalize its relation with the India that has been strained since 2019?
Well, I think that it is a big break from the past. I was covering the SCO summit in Goa last year, and External Affairs Minister, the Indian External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, very harsh tone, very hard words for Pakistan. It talked about he said you are weaponizing terrorism, and he said we are not spurring diplomatic points, we are diplomatically exposing Pakistan. This is what he said in response to Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, who was the foreign minister at the time, where he said that you should not be using terrorism to score diplomatic points. And on Kashmir, he thundered and said Pakistan has nothing to do with the G20 summit for
Hmm.
occupation of Azad Jammu Kashmir, he said. And he said it is very difficult to engage with a neighbor who practices cross border terrorism against us. So that entire trip was marred, with war of words between, at that time, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and Dr.
Yes.
Jaishankar. And it was a complete outburst that he had at the press
Yes.
conference. And the feeling that other people got, and do not forget that just before Foreign Minister at that time, Bhutto Zardari, arrived in Goa, he had said about Prime Minister Modi that Osama bin Laden is
Yes.
dead, but the good butcher of Gujarat lives. So naturally, there was this anger that was kind of brewing within the BJP, and I feel that Jay Shankar had felt the need to answer back because they were just at the they were just going to have elections nations in India, and Dr. J. Shankar
Hmm.
was considered to be not so politically strong. He's somebody who doesn't really contest elections, and therefore he probably had a weak position at that time. with Prime Minister Modi and a lot of the Indian analysts. They said that in order to um, maybe warm himself up to
Hmm.
Prime Minister Modi, he may have made those remarks. However, the entire SCO conference at that time was overshadowed by the war of words between
Yes.
India and Pakistan. And we've seen this before. We've seen this before with SARC. And SARC was made redundant.
Yes.
India and Pakistan were always at loggerheads and they were never speaking to each other or there was a war of words. Now, this is the SCO. It is led by China, it is led
Yes.
by Russia. So, I don't think that they will stand around and see it being overtaken by debacle between India and Pakistan. So, they were also very keen that the summit should go smoothly, that the focus should remain on the SCO, it should remain on economic integration, which they keep talking about. It should remain that they're thinking of a bank, they're thinking of a fund, they're thinking of a currency in which they can trade. So these are the questions that they're asking. Digital economy, although if you look at most of these nations, they have
Yeah.
clamped down on digital economies in their own countries. However,
So
they were wanting to talk about the development fund, the development bank, etc. So I think that this time around there has been a focus on the SCO issues. If you look at Jaishankar's speech, there's
yes.
only one place where he actually mentions Pakistan, and I think there were these three words that he talked about, which was terrorism, extremism, and separatism. And he said that they're hardly likely to
Yes.
encourage trade, energy flows, etc., etc. He talked about Article 1 of the SCO Charter, saying that, if you do want to be good neighbors, if you want to progress, then you will have to get rid of terrorism. So I think that was a veiled reference to Pakistan. But at the same time,
Okay.
we saw Dr. Jaishankar shake hands with Prime Minister Shabazz Sharif. And if I can take you back to 2023 Goa, over there, Narendra Modi just folded his hands in a namaste and did not shake the
Yes.
hands of Bilawal. And, that was something that we talked about at that time. So there was also
Okay.
some footage that has been released, and we can probably see it on the screens,
Yeah.
where the foreign minister, Abdar, and the foreign minister of India are sharing a light moment together. So I think this is definitely at least building a good relationship,
No,
walking towards
but
good relationship.
as we are speaking, Pakistani TV channels are running the news that there had been a meeting among Jaishankar, Ishaq Dar, and Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif, where Ishaq Dar and Jaishankar talked about revival of ties in terms of cricket. In terms of cricket, so do you think that this SCO summit and the meeting between Jaishankar and Ishaq Dar could prove as a icebreaker in the coming days, and there can be a restart of diplomacy, even it is in cricket terms?
Well, I certainly think that these meetings or any meeting proves to be an icebreaker when people do speak to each other in a formal forum where you're expected to be civil with one another, where everybody is talking about engagement rather than disengagement, then it certainly is a step in the right direction. I'll remind you that in 2017, when I went with Mia Nawaz Sharif to Astana, that it was another SCO
Yes.
summit, and at that time, Afghanistan was part of it. I think it was an observer status. And at that time, President Ashraf Ghani had a meeting with Mia Nawaz Sharif on the
Hmm.
sidelines of the SCO. And he
Yes.
came out ashen faced, Mia Nawaz Sharif, saying that, the Afghans have showed us evidence of terrorism, and I'm very worried about that. So these, if you can hear me, these forums are really places where
Yes.
leaders can meet one another and they can exchange views. They can also exchange information that may not be welcome information, but certainly there are hard facts and hard truths that are discussed. And any forum that provides that is leading you towards integration rather than disengagement is what the hope is really.
And I towards the last, I have a question. And as you have mentioned, Nawaz Sharif, and basically, as PMN said, it was his initiative that Pakistan became the part of SCO. Um, this time, few Indian journalists came over to Pakistan to attend SCO. One of them was Barka Dutt, and he met with Nawaz Sharif, and it was a one of the rare meeting that Nawaz Sharif met with any journalist, and it was an Indian journalist. And in that meeting, he mentioned that. he hoped that Pakistan and India would sit together and talk about bilateral ties in near future. Do you think that the PMLN government, led by his own brother,
In not so
will be
distant a
able
future.
to build not so distant future? So do you think that PMLN government, led by his own brother, will be able to uh, build on this statement, which has been seen as a welcome step in India? Do you think that they have the capacity and they have the room to maneuver around that?
Well, first they have to build the capacity to gain back the civilian space that they have already lost internally to the military. And only after that we can see if they can make peace overtures to neighboring India. So I do not think that Pakistan, to be honest, I do not think Pakistan is in a place where the government alone can make decisions on where to take any kind of foreign relations with any country, especially India, because that's one place which the military jealously guards as its own, saying that this is where we will devise the strategy because these have been always our arch rivals. So I think that they will have to,
Yes.
at some point, realistically take the military along. What does the military want? I think that is an important question because they have been certainly very schizophrenic in their approach towards India. On the one hand, they say that they want trade. On the other hand, we saw clearly that the Imran cabinet had approved, trade between India and Pakistan. It was actually the military that said no, that we do not want it any longer. So I think that they have to themselves decide what they want because their approach has been not consistent and not according to what they say. So they haven't walked the talk really.
Thank you so much, Munizae Jahangir, for speaking to us. And that's all from Islamabad. Please keep watching voicepeaker.net.
And thank you so much, Ahmed, for doing this interview. This is all from now from Islamabad. Keep watching this space, voicepkdotnet, and we will say goodbye. Ahmed Said and myself, goodbye, and thank you for now.
आपकी खबर आपकी आवाज़ voicepk.net